For more, we are joined by Congressman Adam Smith, ranking member of the House Armed Services Committee. Congressman, good to see you again. And I was speaking with Major General William Enyart last night about our stockpile. He brought up a particularly interesting impact we could see involving China. I want to listen to this quickly and get your take on the other side.
Are we going to have to start pulling some of these weapons out of the Indo-Pacific theater? Are we going to have to pull them out of Korea, out of Japan?
What are the consequences, General, if we have to do that?
Well, that certainly weakens our posture in the Pacific. China, as we all know, has been far more aggressive in the Pacific and has been on occasion surrounding Taiwan with ships and planes. And certainly, if we weaken our posture there, it would give them a potential opening, and we could then indeed see a world war with something happening in the Pacific.
Congressman, could China take advantage of America's focus on the Middle East and weaponry, especially when it comes to Taiwan?
Yeah, that's certainly a risk. I don't know that China would want to dive in this particular situation. Keep in mind, China's impacted by the chaos in the Middle East right now as well. They get 55% of their oil from the Mideast, and that's not flowing. It's been disruptive to them as well. But absolutely, that's a risk if we have to start moving weapons around and reduce our security posture. So there's certainly the short-term challenge. How many weapons do we have to deal with the Middle East war? One of many reasons why I think this war was ill-conceived. But the larger issue, to the math problem that you laid out there a moment ago, we need to work on more cost-effective ways to deal with drones. And this is where, oddly, Ukraine is an important partner. They have figured this out. They have much cheaper ways of knocking out drones, technologies, weapons that they have used. We're working with them to try and develop that. That's something the U.S. was doing even before this war started, was to come up with cheaper, more effective counter-drone technology.
We've seen Democrats standing in the way of DHS when it comes to immigration in recent weeks. Do you believe that Democrats need to change their tune and fully support DHS now that we're in war?
Well, no, I don't. And it's a ridiculous argument that the Republicans are making. I mean, first of all, the abuses of ICE haven't gone away. Just because Donald Trump started a very ill-advised major Middle East war in the middle of it, Americans should still have their rights protected. They should not have ICE agents violating their rights and acting like a paramilitary force all across the country, pulling people out of cars, arresting them, detaining them without due process, without probable cause, using aggressive, violent tactics that have seen now, I think it's 3 separate Americans have been killed. That needs to be dealt with. As far as the parts of DHS that are not ICE, we have said we will fund those. So if that's what Republicans care about, put that bill on the floor. It's what we tried to do 2-3 days ago. They refused to do that, so they won't fund the other portions, and they won't reform ICE the way they should. So I don't think anything has changed in that regard in terms of what our policy priorities for the country should be.
President Trump has not ruled out American boots on the ground in Iran, and we hear officials at the Department of War saying it would not be a large-scale invasion. It would be a limited mission carried out by small special forces teams working with nuclear experts, and it could involve entering heavily fortified underground facilities. Do you believe that the president will be sending troops to Iran, and would you support that?
I would not support it. I think it would be a disastrous expansion of an already disastrous decision. And it really underscores just how big a blunder this war is for President Trump. He had his objective, which was basically to force an Iranian regime that would not be hostile to the U.S., that would basically be compliant with whatever he asked. And he imagined that he could relatively easily achieve that outcome with the air campaign that we've seen. Well, experts were saying in advance, no, you can't. The Iranian regime is vastly more dug in and stronger than the Venezuelan regime. You get into this, you're going to really struggle to achieve that objective. The president ignored that, didn't pay any attention to the advice, and now the idea of doubling and tripling down on that would only make it worse, because if you send in a small number of troops, you're still not going to be able to affect the regime. And let's say in the highly improbable outcome that you are able to send in, I don't know, a couple hundred special forces people to grab a bunch of uranium. Special forces are trained to do a lot of different things, not that. So that wouldn't work. Even then, the regime's still there. I mean, they could still reconstitute the whole system. So I think it's time for us to find a vastly more intelligent off-ramp from this ill-conceived war whose costs are going up and whose benefits are turning out to be a lot smaller than the president envisioned.
Congressman Adam Smith, thank you for the perspective and time tonight.